Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Halloween is upon us and I thought it would be a good idea to bring some awareness of products that I really think you guys should be taking a look at. Now, of course, we do need some horror. It is October and Halloween, but I think there are some other old and new items that are worthy of your attention. Now, some are free, the others are cheap, already worthy of a like for the video, I think. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at a miniature game expansion where all the proceeds will be going to charity, and also 4 RPG tools. So let's take a look. Let's start off with something for horror gaming, and we have a sort of haunted location generator, and this is by Lindsay Bonnet, or Bonnet, I think it's Bonnet, it's pronounced Bonnet. I have featured some products by Lindsay before in a previous video. I'll put the link up here, and that was for dungeon trappings and station trappings. Now, the haunted trappings follows the same general system and general mechanism of creating these locations. But of course, it's done a slightly different way because of the theme involved or the genre involved. But if you want sort of more detail on how these tools work and how to use these tools, I recommend going to that other video because I go into it in a lot more detail, including a sort of example generation. But you've got fantasy, you've got sci-fi, and you now have haunted. Now, this has been out a while. I think it's been out at least a year, I think. But it's a very suitable product for this video. I haven't included this one before. I think it's now time. So, Haunted Trappings is a small tool. I mean, it's, how many pages is it? 8 pages. It's available on Drive-Thru and Itch, and it's pay what you want. But, as I always say, you can get it for free, but I would highly recommend, if you've got a spare $1 or $2, you know, send it as you're purchasing, send it to the designer as a way of appreciation for what they do for us. But this little tool is a way for us to create haunted locations. In terms of the building or the location, the site as it were, but also you can use this tool, this generator, to create what type of haunting and why is the haunting taking place within this small product here. So the way this works is that you are following a sequence of rolls on tables using, what does it say here? You need a 12-sided dice, you need an 8-sided dice, and you need up to 4 D6. And you'll be using these, like I say, on tables to generate prompts and information that you can then convert into your haunted location. So the first thing that you'll be doing is, in terms of the overall location, you'll be rolling up for the purpose, the trapping, and then the site. Where is it actually located? And these are done on, like I say, they're done on tables. So on page 2, you're given the tables that you need to roll on for the general theme of the location. All these tables are also to be found at the back of this product. All together, so you've got all the tables condensed into one place, but they are sort of put together following the sequence. So here you'll be rolling for the purpose. What is the purpose of the building in question? You could have it as residential, commercial, entertainment, medical, tourism. So by rolling up here, you can have a general idea of what the location used to be, or maybe still is. Was it a hospital, a school, an industrial building, a factory? Then you roll up for the trapping. So this is a general sort of descriptive theme. You can then get more information from this sort of trapping designation by, again, rolling on more tables. So let's say, for example, we roll a D12, we get an 8, it says here slick. So what we can then do near the back of the product is we can look for the slick table, which is up the top here. Let's bring this down so you guys can see. So this will then give us descriptors for the rooms within the location. So it could be polished, metallic, granite, vaulted, sturdy, smooth. And again, for each of the rooms that we would create later, we'll be rolling on here, again, to get a little bit more description in terms of the place that we have found. After that, you can roll for the actual location. Where is it situated? Is it in the heart of the city, on the edge of the forest? Is it near the sea? Again, just to give that location, the generator gives us a little bit more information and prompts for us to really flesh it out. Then, after that, you can roll up for the haunting type and the motivation. Now, this one, if you've already got an idea in terms of the adventure that you want to run or the theme that you want to run for your horror game, you may not want to roll that. But if you're also looking for inspiration for an adventure within the location, this is where you can do it. So you can roll up for the haunting type, the motivation for the haunting, and again, for each of the haunting types, there will be more tables for you to actually generate more information, more specific details about the haunting in question. So there's a lot of descriptive prompts that you can roll up here, and again, it is themed towards haunted houses and the like. Now, the way that you create the building in question, apart from the descriptive prompts, in terms of doing a sort of layout or a floor plan, as it were, of the building, the system is similar to the ones that we have seen before in Dungeon and Station Trappings. You'll be rolling between 1 to 4 d6 or 6-sided dice. You will then combine the dice to create like a layout of rooms. Now, it's very important that the 6-sided dice that you use are the ones with the pips, not ones with the numbers, okay? You've got to use the ones with the pips. Because what you're going to do, let's say that we want a really big haunted location. We've done all the rolls so far. Maybe we have... Let's roll one up. Let's say we've got, okay, it is a number 1 residential building. We roll up a 12, gilded in sort of a descriptive theme, and it is 2 at the center of town. All right, so you can roll up the description there. The haunting is 2, a howler, some kind of howling haunting. The motivation, oh sorry, wrong dice. D8 for the motivation, and 8 gleeful. So maybe this is something demonic, maybe. But then when you're actually trying to create the layout of the room, you'll be rolling between 1 to 4 d6s and then arranging the pips to make the layout. Again, it's exactly the same as we had with the other books from Lindsay. So let's say we want a really big location. So we've got a 6, a 1, and a 2. Now, you combine these dice however you want to create the layout. So we've got a 6 here. Maybe we want to do maybe something like, maybe the 1 represents the entrance. Maybe then we have 6 rooms like that. Maybe some kind of, because I think we rolled up residential, right? So maybe there are some like living quarters here. And then maybe there is a corridor with maybe 2 locations or 2 rooms. And then maybe there's another 6 rooms. So something, maybe it could be something like a barracks or something. Now, don't make decisions just yet, because you can actually roll up the room types. And of course, you're going to have the descriptors based on the trappings. So that can actually help you to decide what's going to be what. But you'll basically combine the dice any way you want. I mean, here they've put one on top of the other. But you can combine them any way you want to create, like I say, your it's not a flow chart, but it's the layout of rooms. We had something very similar in the space one. Again, in this case, the dice were combined this way to create a different layout here. And as I mentioned just now, you can come up with your own ideas in terms of what the rooms are, or you do have a room type table here to give you more ideas. You'll then use the descriptor based on your trapping to kind of give more flavor and more description for each of the rooms in question. What else is there? Well, you can also roll up for random encounters. Now it says here, not every room needs an encounter, but for those that do, roll on the encounter type table. So this is something else within this generator, is that as well as creating the physical building, as well as creating a random haunting and motivation behind the haunting, it also gives you options for generating encounters within each room or specific rooms or random rooms. And again, it's got all the tables that you need to roll up and to get prompts to develop that. Now, I think that this series of tools by Lindsay, I think they are amazing. And like I said, I did a video for Dungeon and Station previously, fantasy and sci-fi. And by having the haunted trappings, by having this third tool, really does make it a set to collect. And I highly recommend getting these. As I say, these are all pay what you want. But as I mentioned earlier, yes, you can get them for free, but I highly recommend, if you've got a spare dollar or two, sending that as an appreciation when you get these books. Highly, highly recommended. I'm wondering whether there's going to be any more, because it's been a while. I'm not sure whether Lindsay's going to be making any more. Could definitely do with some kind of post-apocalyptic trappings. Maybe some kind of anime-based trappings, because we do have some anime-based RPGs going around now. Anyway, it's fine. We've got a good selection here. So this is the first product that I'd like to show you. Okay, up next we have a couple of offerings from Shield Eye Studio. These are both free on drive-through. Again, all the links are going to be down below for you to find these things, but these are both free on drive-through. They are small tools with a lot more usefulness and a lot more content than you may expect. So we have Visions and Prophecies, a tool to generate, as it says, Visions and Prophecies, but it has a very, I'll show you in a second the inside, but it has a very nice dream generator. And also we have the potion generator. Now, I don't know how much use there is or how much need there is for a potion generator, but when you get it, because I'm assuming you guys are going to download everything that I'm showing you, because you should, you'll look at this and you'll think, you know what? I'm going to use this. This looks like a lot of fun. Especially if you have a witch character. Maybe one of your players has a witch character, or maybe your adventure or your campaign or your setting has witches and warlocks. This is surprisingly good. And this is actually really small. It's only, how many pages? Okay, so not including the cover page, you've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Now, let's look at this one first, because it is the smallest. I mean, neither of them are big. So the potion generator provides us with a nice sample of prompts, random elements, and effects to make either potion creation or potion loot really interesting. I mean, this would be amazing for those potions that your party or your players find, and you want to come up with something a little bit different than what's in the, I mean, referring to D&D and 5e, in the DM's guide or whatever, when you roll up a random potion, it's kind of boring. This gives you a lot more interesting potions for loot. So, even from things like the container material, you could have bone potion containers. You can roll for a random shape. Also, what you'll find is that with these two generators, you'll be using dice and cards. I do like using cards. I find that cards are not used enough in games and tools. So to have some generators where we're using both dice and cards is an amazing thing. So what we got here, intended effect. So you could use cards here to generate what the potion does when the party finds a potion, or if you're a solo player, when your character finds a potion, you could draw a random card. I do have some cards handy. So you could basically just draw a random card, and then, so this is the Queen of Diamonds. Queen of Diamonds grants spider-like abilities. There you go. There's your potion. That's what you find. Now, of course, you could also have it so that they don't know what the potion does until they drink it or have it assessed by some kind of alchemist. So you can still keep it a secret, but you can use the cards to generate when they do eventually find out, or when they do drink the thing. There's also, you can roll a die, a d20, to find out there's a possible side effect. Just don't roll a 20. I mean, a 1's bad enough, temporary blindness, but a 20 means death. What else is there? Okay, so then you've got a section where it's more about the creation of potions, more like sort of an alchemist or a witch. You can draw cards to find ingredients, additional items that may be necessary. You can roll dice as well. Again, I like the combination of cards and dice. Up here, maybe tools that they need to have in order to create the potions. Processes, if you want to go really deep into it and get them to really sort of explain what they're going to be doing and maybe the facilities they need. Yeah, so what process do they need to use? Let's roll a d20. Let's do a couple of examples. So for our potion, we're going to need to mix and stir. We could roll again to find out for how many hours. Tools that I need, a 7. Scales, so maybe the potion that my alchemist or maybe the witch requires is very precise ingredients. So again, we can use cards to generate what ingredients we need. And finally, a bit more on the aesthetics. Sorry, I'm moving the camera a little bit. In terms of the color, you can roll a d4 and then a d10. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then roll a d10 to determine what color. And again, you could possibly combine to have a swirling color within the potion. Maybe black and silver. I mean, some of these are quite strange. Let's roll up one color because I like rolling dice, even though the dice don't like me. 2 and 10. Beige. Let's roll another one. We get a 2 and 10 again. Come on. 1, 2. Blue. So maybe the potion that we're creating is going to be a beige and blue color. And then the last part, right down the bottom here, additional traits. You could roll a d8. Is it bubbling, highly flammable, glow in the dark, acidic? Very, very simple. There's not a lot in here, but what there is can make some really interesting, like I say, loot when they find potions, or in terms of actually getting the party or NPCs to actually create potions themselves. I mean, this could also be good for setting tasks, like little adventures or quests for the adventurers, for the party. Maybe an alchemist wants to hire them to find some components for a new experiment they're going to be doing. You could roll here to find out what ingredients they need to find. All that in a little, how many pages was it? 5-page tool? It's brilliant. I love it. The other one, okay, Visions and Prophecies. This is amazing, because this can also be used to generate quests. However, there are a couple of things that I need to highlight, and I have actually tried to contact Jay regarding this particular tool, but I think he's really busy with his sort of Kickstarter that he did a while back at the moment. But Visions and Prophecies is a little bit bigger, a little bit more content, but at the moment, I think there is only a spread format that you can download. I mean, especially with things like this where the text and stuff's really small, I would prefer to have a page format. And again, I have asked Jay whether there's going to be a sort of page format available, but at the moment, Visions and Prophecies, I think, is only in spread format. The other thing is that There is actually one entry missing on page. What page is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ace. There's an ace entry missing. Just one. Again, I have messaged Jay to sort of let him know, but I haven't heard anything back yet. But yes, Visions and Prophecies. This is a really, really nice tool. And I can definitely see this being used in some of my future solo RPG adventures. Visions of a dark future and prophetic ramblings are rife within the fantasy genre. When building your world or planning a gaming session, you may wish to implement a riddle-like prophecy that is whispered throughout the realms. A prophecy can bring lore to the forefront and entice the characters and players, or fill them with fear for what is to come. So this is a really nice tool for, again, it could be setting up legends and lore, setting up disasters to come, or setting up quests for the players. So in here, you've got a bit more content. And again, you may not be able to see it very well because, like I say, the spread format makes it very smart. I mean, I could zoom in. Don't really want to zoom in. Download it. It's free. But you've got here a number of tables for not necessarily the same vision or the same prophecy. There are actually in here different ways of generating those things. So here you've got a table here. You can roll 2d20s. You foresee a future moment. Let's bring it down a bit. Of who and what is the act. So you can roll 2d20s and find out exactly what this moment in the future is going to be. So let's say, for example, we roll a 16, a party member, 20, harbors a secret. Ooh! Again, a really nice tool for the GM, a really nice tool for the solo RPG player. You can really sort of quickly come up with a twist. I think the twist, we had that in Machine Gods recently. You can have the story deviate from where it's currently going with just a couple of D20 rolls here. Over here, you've got, you have a vision. You've got two tables here. From where does the vision rise? Of what does it foretell? Again, a simple roll can give you some real prompts, some real, raw materials in which to create your adventures. Down here, you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 6-step way of creating a religious prophecy. Now, Jay is very good at these kind of things by using words or multiple words to create actions, encounters, events. You see things like this in a lot of his products. But here you'll be drawing 6 cards from a deck. I think it's without jokers, and you can create quite an in-depth prophecy. Let's do that, shall we? So let's again just quickly sort of shuffle. These aren't well shuffled. Whoops, I'm really not very good at shuffling. Maybe I should stick to the dice. So let's shuffle. Okay, so our religious prophecy. The first card that we draw is a 5 of hearts. So 5 of hearts says, where the silent, ace of diamonds, owl, oh, hang on, ace of diamonds, axe. Where the silent axe, doesn't really make much sense, but we'll carry on. Where the silent axe fades to nothingness, they shall become succession and a falling of tears. Now, that's going to need a little bit of work to make it make sense. But those 6 cards have now created quite an in-depth sentence, quite an in-depth prophecy. But again, because the randomness, it's not always going to mesh perfectly with the others that you've created. But by drawing those 6 cards and by rewording, maybe adding a few little extra words in there, I could have something which definitely can add to your adventure. Let's move the cards out of the way. A little bit confusing, that one, but again, it can very easily make sense. Then, on the next page, we have dreamscapes. And this is actually the part of this tool that really interests me mainly as a solo player, because in here you've got all the tables and all the rules to create dreams. Whether these dreams are real, whether they are truly visions, or whether they are prophecies and sort of ways to push you in certain directions to create your story. What you've got here is actually really good. So you've got a way of creating dreamscapes, a way of creating how is the dreamscape activated or entered. What is the appearance of the dreamscape? What strange quality does it have? And then again, by drawing cards, again, they're doing a 6-step process here about an adventurer's dream. But this is not to be combined into one sort of sentence, one prophecy, or one sort of description of a dream. They've each got a different question. So the first one, where does your dream begin? Second, how do you feel within your dream? Third, what do you see before you? 4, how does the dream morph or change? 5, what do you do within the dream? And 6, what do you feel when you wake? Again, drawing these random cards, you can really embellish, grow your story into something really exciting. I love this. I love the dream section here. Then it goes on to things such as prophets. You can roll to find out who is, okay, if it's not one of your party or one of your characters, maybe it's somebody nearby or somebody important in your adventure, your story, your campaign, who's having the prophecies. So you can roll up and find out who is the prophet in question. And then at the bottom here, maybe there are some rituals involved. So again, it's not a huge number of pages, but I am waiting for the single page variant to be available. But yes, from Jay at Shield Dice Studios, these two are amazing. These are definitely going into my sort of side table pile of tools that I use for RPGs, along with things like the Random Encounters book, along with that dungeon book. These are definitely being added there. And again, they are free. Links are in the description. Next we have Storyteller's Toolkit for Ultimate Character Design. Now, this is by Peter Schultz, who also brought us Kuroi, which I have featured on the channel. Links up here. He also brought us Entity, which I really do need to bring to the channel. I haven't done it yet. I have played that a few times, but I haven't done a video for it yet. But yes, that will be coming. But yes, Peter has brought out some very interesting products and games. As the name implies, this is a character generator, and it brings something a little bit different to the party compared to other sort of character generators that we've seen before. Now, this is available on drive-thru. I think it's about $5. There are two versions. There is a single page version, a page version, and there is a spread version. The page version is, I think, 58 pages. The spread version is 30. And the way that this is actually done and the size of the font, I've actually gone with printing out the spread version because it's nice, because there is some overlapping art between pages. And when you print it out as spread format, it looks rather nice. Now, I need to give a couple of warnings on this. First of all, don't get this confused with Peter's RPG called Storytellers. This is a different product. This is the Ultimate Character Design product, not the RPG. Another thing is that there are a couple of errors in here. I haven't reached out to Peter because I've got to be honest, I only found them when I was prepping for this video. But there are a couple of errors on here. I think some of them have actually been mentioned on the RPG page where you put the comments. But yeah, let me see if I can find one. So here, I think somebody on drive-thru mentioned that this was actually repeated from another table. There was another one, wasn't there, if I remember correctly? Up here, there's also one which is incomplete. And then there was one more that I think I found. I don't think it was mentioned on drive-thru. I think there's a... Yeah, there's one of the tables where Normally they have the same title, but for some reason this one has different titles, even though it's actually the same table. So yeah, I mean, as you can see from me flipping through the pages, this does have, the majority of this product is D100 tables. Now, before we look at those, I want to go through the contents because you want to know what you're getting, right? I'll actually put a larger size contents up here so you can see properly. But inside this character creator, or this character generator, it actually covers and it actually looks at 3 possible genres of gaming. Fantasy, modern, and science fiction. So it gives you different tables for each of those genres that you can roll on. So it's all within the one sort of book, the one tool. Another thing is that some of the items that it will provide generators for, they're not necessarily things that I normally see in these character generators. So for example, you've got things like goals and burdens, demeanor and occupations, beliefs and routines, early scars and turning points. So you can really get into some real sort of background knowledge of the characters that you're creating. And this is a really good little creator to add to your collection, not just for fleshing out your PCs or your characters, but it does give a lot of information that can be really useful when you're creating NPCs, whether they're just single-use minor NPCs in a town, village, or tavern, or whether you're actually looking to create sort of the big boss, the main villain of a campaign. What you're provided with here is actually a really nice selection of tables to, give your NPCs a lot of flavor, a lot of depth. And like I say, because of that, I think it's a worthy addition to your collection. Let's have a quick look at what you get. Again, some of the art is, there's not a huge amount of art in here. Like I say, most of it is just the tables, and the tables are spread over sort of 2 pages or 1 spread page, which makes them very easy to read in spread format. You don't need to do this sort of in page format. I mean, you could maybe use the page format to make it as a booklet, I think could be probably the best thing of doing, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, I don't really want to print this as A4 and this as A4, it'll be too big. But yeah, maybe the page format would be good for making a booklet. But anyway, there is a lot of stuff here. So again, let's look at the first table here. So this is for occupations, a D100 table for fantasy occupations, for modern occupations, and for science fiction occupations. Again, useful in all kinds of character generation. Demeanors, this is more general. Physical details, goals, in terms of what your character or what an NPC wants to do or wants to achieve, you can roll up here. And like I say, there's a lot of other tables in here covering a whole range of things. And again, it's another worthwhile tool. Now, this is a little bit more expensive than the other ones we've looked at on this video. But since the other items on this video are so cheap or free, you'll have a few extra bucks to spend on this one. Methinks. But yes, Storyteller's Toolkit for Ultimate Character Design. A really nice little product. Like I say, it's only about $5 on drive-thru. Again, all the links are down below. And it's system agnostic. It can be used in any role-playing game. And like I say, some of the tables you're going to have for fantasy, modern, or sci-fi. So yes, a thumbs up for this one. To finish off the video, we have our last product that I highly recommend you guys take a look at. And this time we're going to be looking at something for miniatures gaming. And in front of us here, we have the Weirdos. 2 of the greatest small-scale skirmish games that I've honestly ever seen. I say small scale, not necessarily in terms of the size of the miniatures, but in terms of the number of miniatures. They are about $5 each on drive-thru RPG. You've got sci-fi, you've got fantasy. The sci-fi was the first game that was released by Garsky Games. It was then followed by the Sword Weirdos, which was the fantasy version. And these games are amazing. You'll need between... most of the time that I've been playing it, The war bands that I've created have been between 4 and 10 figures. I suppose if you want to play very low cost figures, you could possibly use more, but it's designed for very small war bands, and essentially the game revolves around the following: a small number of minis, small table size, simple rules. You also got rules for player versus player, but also for solo. It's miniature agnostic, so you can use whatever the heck you want. And again, this is one of the things I really like about these games. Your war bands and even the troops, the individual troops within the war bands, are fully customizable in terms of their statistics, their equipment, their spells, their psychic powers, etc., etc. It really does have the jack of all trades kind of feel, but it is an amazing game, really fast, really simple, and like I say, you've got two versions. You've got sci-fi and fantasy. However, we are not really here to promote the games themselves. I have been wanting to actually do some games of this on the channel, but again, like a lot of games, I never get the chance to do it. I would recommend, if you want to see some playthroughs of these games, go and visit Old Hammered. I think the name of his YouTube channel has changed. I think it's now Skirmish War Games. Again, I'll leave all the links down below. But he has some really nice videos on how to actually play these games and sample battles. So I'll point you in that direction until I manage to find some time to do some of my own. However, we're not necessarily here to look at these games. What we are here for is this, Weird Millennium. Now, this is an expansion for... I'll cover up. I'm going to cover up the fantasy one because this is an expansion for Space Weirdos. Okay, let's put the most important thing out first. This is $5 on drive-thru. However, when you buy this expansion, all the proceeds are going to go to a charity, and I think they mention on drive-thru that you can check the charity payments, I think, on their Discord. I'm going to have to double check that. But it's very worthwhile because it does add a lot to the Space Weirdos game. I am now eagerly looking forward to the expansion for Sword Weirdos because there are some things included here that I want for the fantasy game. So this is a fan-created expansion from players of the game, from veterans of the game. They've basically looked and seen what they can add, what they can change, and it's been gathered together by Garsky Games, and you can get this, like I say, for $5. Oh, actually, did I make a mistake then? You don't go to Drive-Thru RPG for this one. You have to go to War Games Vault. Yes, sorry, my mistake. I think you can get the basic games, if I remember correctly, on Drive-Thru, but the expansion, I think, is on War Game Vault. I'll put the links down below for War Games Vault for these, because you can get the games and the expansion on War Game Vault. I don't think they're all available on Drive-Thru. My mistake, my apologies. But I will put down the correct links down below. So, what do you get in the expansion? Oh, a lot of stuff. I mean, you're getting 16 pages. But there is quite a lot of stuff in here that can really expand the game. Now, the games themselves are actually small. They're zines. Heartbreaker zines. And again, they're not a huge amount of pages. 15 pages. 15 pages for the basic game. And then you get like a solo supplement. So you've got solo rules, scenarios, etc. So even the basic games aren't huge. But the expansion, I think, is only 16 pages as well. What's in here? Well, you've got some general advice. So these are, it's like a Q&A plus feedback and comments from players who've been playing the game for many years. I say many years. I don't think it's been out for many years, but, you know, veterans. And some of this advice is very much aimed at new players of the game, but it can also be useful for even veterans who tend to make or forget things like I do. So there is some general advice. You've also got a set of house rules, things that maybe the rules don't include, because it is a zine game in design, so it's very minimal in terms of its content. But these are things that people do by themselves, house rules, that can definitely be added into the game, and sometimes it just makes sense. For example, rules for falling, scatter dice, peeping around corners, stray shots, maybe for things such as you want your characters to be intoxicated. So, I mean, this is a sci-fi. This is for the sci-fi game. So maybe you've got some space dwarves and maybe you want to give them the intoxicated rule or something. So there are some house rules, again, really useful, really interesting. Again, given by the fans. You've got some random event tables, loot boxes that you could potentially find in scenarios. And then you've got a set of additional things. Additional weapons, additional equipment, psychic powers, stealth suits, teleport, a variation on the teleport rules, some more traits, both for warband and leadership, for when you're creating a warband. And one thing that I was really sort of hoping for Space Weirdos, campaign rules. Now, I did mention just now that I'm looking for an expansion for Sword Weirdos because this also really needs campaign rules. Now, you could modify this and apply to the fantasy game, I think, which could also possibly work. But yeah, I do enjoy sort of narrative campaign-based games, especially with miniatures, because, role-playing games is kind of part of the package. But with miniature games, it's not necessarily part of the basic game in a lot of cases. For example, back in the day, I used to love Confrontation by Rackham. The miniatures were amazing. The game wasn't the greatest, but I loved it. And I just found the game was made much more interesting and much more, fun to play when they brought out the Dogs of War book, which allowed for the campaigns. So yeah, I'm very much a campaign gamer, even with miniatures. Another good thing. More scenarios. I think in the basic game, I think there was 3 scenarios, if I remember correctly. But you got a lot more in here. Yes. What else is there? And at the end of this expansion, you've got some more example warbands to help you come up with your own ideas, or maybe just a copy. And you've also got a list of resources and links on the internet where you can get more information. Okay, it's got, Old Hammered has a link here, but I'm not sure if that's the correct link because I'm pretty sure that he changed the name of his channel. I will check and I'll put down in the description, but Old Hammered, if I remember correctly, I think Old Hammered was the name of his original YouTube channel. And I think he changed it. I'm not sure whether he changed it because of, GW legal pressure, thinking they own everything, or whether he chose it just because he wanted to. Anyway, I'll put the link down below. But yeah, this is all there, and then you've got another quick reference sheet to include the things which are included. So if you are a miniatures gamer and if you have any interest in small scale skirmishing, where you have between maybe 5 to 10, or maybe 5 to 15 figures per side. If you've got any interest in that whatsoever, and whether you're fantasy or sci-fi focused, you need these games. You need these games, and if you're playing Space Weirdos, you need this expansion. You won't regret it. They really are amazing. However, again, because they are zine-style games, or Heartbreaker zines, they have a low quantity of pages. They're not an exhaustive set of rules, but they are great fun, simple, and, very, very suitable for new players or even for young players. Big thumbs up for these games and also for this fan expansion, which, again, all proceeds will go to charity. Buy it now. And there you go, 5 amazing products that I have found and I felt the need to share with you guys. There should be something here to interest you. Very cheap or free. I'll put all the links down below. Most of them I think are drive-through and or itch. But for the Space Weirdos expansion, I think it is on War Games Vault. But like I say, I'll include everything down below in the description. So yeah, I will be uploading the next video, which will be my Halloween video, shortly after this one. So I hope you guys will stay around and watch that one as well. But yeah, have a good Halloween, guys. If you are going out with the kids for trick or treat, or if you are going out to have a little bit of fun at the pub or at a party, please, please, please be careful. Don't drink and drive. Yeah, be safe. I hope to see you all afterwards. November, I have a few games and a few videos being prepared and being planned for November, including one which I should have done a long time ago. More than one. What could it be? All right, guys. Until then, like I say, happy Halloween. Take care of yourselves. Cheers.